morning, everyone. This is a session on a Monday morning, so hopefully you guys can go ahead and attend this session or on Thursdays at 7 p.m. So, Miko, you're fine for this to be recorded?
Yes.
All right, great, thank you. So, this is our third session. So, we'll go ahead and proceed with the next subject matter here. Okay, so it's the physiology of stress, basically the biological part of stress. Okay, again, this is brought to you by Top Virtual Staffing Solutions, wherein we focus on growth, learning, and innovating. And with our reality right now, this is something that we need to go ahead and constantly do in spite of the COVID-19 situation. All right. So if you have any questions or anything you want to clarify, feel free to go ahead and contact me in any of these ways to communicate with us. All right. And again, we super appreciate the social media follow that you guys will do. We thank you for that. Okay. So again, if you guys are going to join here, now I'm realizing I'm missing a P here. It's implicit consent that you are, once you join in, you're automatically giving us full consent to provide such information to the public, and you're allowing us to use your image and or your information. I'll go ahead and make sure that I go ahead and fix this. Alrighty, so that's all part of the learning process. Okay, all right, so some ground rules. Nico, do you remember some of these things? Anything that you want to talk about?
No.
No? Okay, so first, again, the importance is respect. If you are participating here or even after the fact. And in terms of participation, that's what we want. We want this to be interactive, whether through verbal, chat, or email. And again, I know this is going to be made public, but hopefully, again, you know that whatever you will be sharing is in confidence that we respect one another, but of course, whatever you share is going to be shared to the public. Okay, so background, do you want to talk about my background, Miko?
No.
No? This is your third time now. No? Yes?
No.
What do you remember here? No?
No.
No?
I can't remember.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so my bachelor's is in psychology. My graduate degree is in counseling, and I was summa cum laude in completing that. And I'm a dissertation away from my post-secondary and adult education. So I've been teaching for 2 decades in community colleges, online universities, and international universities for that matter. So I've also helped AAA physical therapy, and here I am in our clinic, and I'll talk a little bit more with some of the stuff that I have here on the background. And right now, yes, we are pushing Top Virtual Staffing Solutions here. Okay, so what is TVSS? It's a remote staffing agency, and one of the things that we can also do is tutoring. So you are seeing Miko here. Here he is. He's got a keyboard or piano tutor, and he is learning what songs, Miko? What music are you learning right now, or what are you learning exactly on keyboard?
Finger Independence and Linkin Park songs.
Okay. All right. For people that are musically challenged like me, what do you mean by finger independence?
One hand is doing something, the other is doing something else, not what this is doing. The other hand.
So the fingers of each hand,
Yes.
okay, are doing independent things.
Yes.
All right, cool. Thank you. Okay, so why strength through stress? Do you remember this, Mika?
No.
Why it's a misnomer? No? Why don't we call it as a stress management? Do you remember what I've shared from the previous 2 sessions? Give it a try. It's okay. Do you know what a misnomer is?
I know what a misnomer is, but I don't know how to explain it.
Okay, you want to give it a shot?
I'm not sure.
Not sure? Okay, that's fine. All right, thanks for trying though, okay? And eventually we'll go ahead and get there. So again, if this is the first time you're watching this, I've explained this a little bit more fully on the second video. So again, it's a misnomer, it's a wrong label because we do not manage stress. We manage how we react to all of these stressors. And this session today will explain this a little bit more of why that is. Okay, so it's the same thing, just like time management. You don't manage time, you manage your activities during with whatever time is being given to us. So why strength through stress? Do you remember this one?
Yeah, I remember the picture.
Okay, but anything you want to say about this?
No.
No? Okay. All right. Hopefully, eventually, you're the one facilitating these specific slides, okay? So you want to focus on positive, because ideally, when you go ahead and view stress management, it's all about the negative side. But we want to focus on positive, that we gain strength, and we will talk more about that on this slide. So Miko, why do we exercise? Why do we work out? What are we trying to gain?
Muscle.
Muscle, and muscle is equivalent to
Strength.
strength. Exactly. Just like this gentleman right here. If you're lifting this much weight, I don't think you do this in one shot. He had to practice to build up the weight that he's doing. So if you give me that right now, no, I won't be able to do it. I need to train for it. I need to be experienced on it, on how to go ahead and do this properly without hurting myself. And that's how we gain our strength. We experience stress because it's demanding us to go ahead and continue to be stronger with whatever it is that we are facing. And that is why it's called strength through stress. Because with whatever the stressful situation is, whether good or bad, we are gaining strength. All right, Mika? Okay. All right. So why free? So again, to the unsung heroes out there, the essential workers, and again, the medical professional, everybody working in the hospitals, clinics, taking care of all of us in one shape or form, we appreciate you guys here. So why free? We want to promote virtual companionship to combat social isolations. Feel free to go ahead and search for this video on our channel. Why free? As you guys could go ahead and see on the screen here, and this is one of his tutoring sessions as well, regarding what again? What are you learning here?
JavaScript, CSS, and HTML.
So you're learning JavaScript now as well? Wow, that's amazing. And we will go back to this with whatever he's learning right now. All right, wonderful, good job. Okay, so, the other reason why this is free is because this is a library that I'm building for Miko, whether at his age right now, a month from now, a year from now, a decade from now, whenever. And if this is something that could be beneficial for him in his lifetime, then that's all more than worthwhile for me. Go ahead, Mika. What do you have?
I was thinking of it like a time capsule.
It is a time capsule. But the difference with the time capsule is that a time capsule, you open it after however many years, correct? This one, it's your access anytime, any day that you think will be beneficial for you. You don't have to wait 10 years, 10 decades, whatever. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I like what you just shared right now. Thank you. Okay. All right, so why free? Again, we need to be physically distant, but to be socially connected. And that's why, again, I was talking about virtual companionship earlier. Okay, so why free? The need to worthwhile causes. So here, for this specific session, we want to go ahead and provide support to NAMI here locally in Howard County, but NAMI is across the United States, okay? So it's the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And right now, it's easy to imagine that there are a lot of people struggling a little bit. For example, just looking at the unemployment numbers, that's already not good. But again, hopefully we gain strength here with everything that we're doing, but at the same time, supporting the people that's supporting us in one shape or form. So this is for our local chapter here for NAMI, but if you guys could go ahead and support the local chapters anywhere else as well, feel free to do so. So the first session, we devoted the session to our local church or the Interfaith Center. So make sure you try to go ahead and help out these local churches where you attend. And the second one is, all of a sudden it's skipping me. it's I can't remember the acronym, but they go ahead and help out with people moving into the county. So there, in terms of international people living here, adjusting here, and so on and so forth. So, all right. Okay, so last but not least, why free? We want to identify what you want to be addressed and whatever questions you may have. Okay, so this is all about you. For now, Miko is the one that's here, but I'll try to go ahead and phrase this that you are watching this not during these live sessions. All right, physiology of stress. The most important part is the brain. This is the most critical part of anything and everything. Miko, the fact that you're able to process the information I'm sharing you, this is the one that's at work right now. Whatever you're feeling in terms of temperature, hearing, seeing, and so on and so forth, it's this pound of stuff on top of our head. Feel free to touch your head, Miko. Okay? The brain. It's super critical. And we will talk more about this, the biology of this. Okay? All right. Brain and stress. Try to go ahead and think how the brain interprets the environment of the physical and also social. So anything that your physical body is operating in wherever you are. And that's the environment and whoever you're working with. So that's the environment right there. Or about brain and stress. It's all about your inner experiences. So if you would see here, if you go ahead and look a little bit closely in terms of feeling, your inner experiences, my inner experience is different from Miko's right now. Even if we, let's say we're in exactly the same situation or position, whatever his inner experiences are is always going to be different from mine and everybody else. Okay, so that's a critical component to identify. And with these inner experiences, you have your own subjective interpretation of this reality. So when you say subjective, what does that mean, Miko?
Underjective.
What?
I was thinking of prefixes.
Okay, yeah, that's good. If I tell you I prefer LeBron James over Michael Jordan, is that objective or subjective?
Subjective.
Subjective, because it's very hard to prove that, or vice versa. Correct?
Yeah.
So whatever reality is, we have these subjective experiences or subjective interpretation of exactly what's going on. Let's provide a little bit more examples here. What are your thoughts here, Mika? Or What's your experience just by looking at this picture?
Looks like something that's inside a human or any other animal.
Okay, so these are the neurons right here. These are the cells. For all of the billions of cells in our brain, this is the one that's communicating. I'll explain a little bit more my experiences with these pictures or how I interpret them. What are your thoughts here? Or what can you say about this?
Must be traffic.
Okay, and if it's traffic, care to share more about your experiences
It's
about
taking
this?
a long time, and
No,
it annoys people. It annoys the people who are in the cars, and then you won't, because they might not get in time where they need to be.
okay, but you're thinking about others. How about you specifically? I want your thoughts or mental processes. How do you interpret this? If you're here, what would you feel? What would you think? What would you do?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Would you be happy? Would you be angry? Would you be upset? Would you be...
I'd be stressed.
You'll be stressed. All right, sounds good. How about this one?
A minion playing a ukulele or a guitar.
Yes. What are your thoughts here? What are your experiences here? What can you say?
I don't know. One
You
of the
don't have any interpretation of this specific picture?
A minion is a cartoon,
Okay.
or Minions, whatever it's called,
Mm-hmm.
and it's playing music on a guitar.
And that's it.
The background is very blurry. You can only see the line where it's standing. It looks like soil.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's not moving, so it's not really alive.
Sounds good. How about this one?
What are those?
Good. I'm glad you do not know, but that's part of the learning experience. These are cigarettes. So I'm glad you do not know what they look like, but it's part of the learning process, so you would know which one is what. So looking at this picture of cigarettes, what would you say, or what are you willing to share?
I don't like the smell of smoke.
You don't like the smell of smoke. Okay.
Ugh.
Okay. I got you. All right. How about this one?
It's a burger.
Okay. So what's your interpretation of this?
Burger, cheese, pickles, tomato ketchup, tomatoes, I think onions, and then lettuce,
Uh-huh.
and the white one on top, my guess is mayonnaise.
Okay.
And then all covered in bread. It's a burger.
All right. So you've described it, but aside from your reaction with the pickles, anything else you want to say here?
It's floating at the black of night.
Okay. But if you see burgers, generally speaking, what do you feel, or how do you react to it?
Depends if I'm hungry.
Okay.
and I'm definitely not hungry, especially for one that has pickles. So, no offense for people who like pickles. I would usually eat a burger, but something that big, no. That's a bit too large.
I think it's just I just enlarge it because I want it to be here. It's not.
It's not bite-sized for me.
It's not the size of my head, but there's some burgers that's the size of my head. But, okay.
Yeah, you know.
Anything else then?
No, not too much.
Okay. All right. Okay, so before we move on to these slides, let me share my own experiences here. And just to really differentiate my experiences of how I interpret the picture versus how Miko interpreted it. We're looking at exactly the same stimulus, correct, Miko?
Yeah.
But we all have these different ways to explain what it is and how we react to it and how we feel about it and so on and so forth. So for me, even with my psychology degree, this is one of my least favorite subjects. And the reason being is there are so many things that I have to go ahead and remember and memorize. And majority of these things, I can't even say them. So what's that? This one, let me use my marker here. Go ahead. So this one, for example, the reindeer shrunk.
Shirring. Reindeer shirring.
Yeah, so there's so many of these that
Synapse.
what's this, cell membrane? So it's a cell membrane? Is that what it is? How about this one?
Cell membrane.
Polyribosomen?
Polyribosome.
So forth. So I have so much respect for people who are medical professionals because they're really good in remembering all of these things. And for me, I try what I can. And the other experience that I have here is I remember during my biopsychology days, it's Wednesday lunchtime, and we have physical brains. These are real human being brains. Some of them are split in half, some are split in quarters, and so on and so forth, or just one whole brain. And then there are 10 pins that's attached to it with different colored pins. And it's an exam. And I have to exactly remember what lobe this is, what vein that is, and so on and so forth. So there's way too many details for me that I personally could really care for. But I understand they're really important. But it's not my cup of tea. This is something that doesn't interest me. And I just learn whatever I can on how it operates. But for you to ask me to go ahead and remember
Mitochondrium.
The what?
Mitochondrium. Mitochondrium.
This one, mitochondrium?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That I kind of remember because it's been bombarded to me that the mitochondria, I think it's only one piece, that's why it's mitochondrium. But with the mitochondria, that's the energy of the cell. So that's where you gain the energy because I've been bombarded about that. But all the other things, it's just a little bit too much for me. So if you listen to how Miko answered this versus mine, it's different. And then for you, whoever's watching right now, maybe this is something of interest to you. And that's what it is. Whatever your experiences are with this same picture. It's exactly the same picture, but we all have different interpretations now. About this one, okay, both of us will be annoyed, all right? But guess what? For some people, they would love to see this again because there's nobody in the streets. There's nothing going on because we all have to stay at home, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, yes, I am not fond of anything like this. And the same thing, there are people who are fond, who who want to be around a lot of people. I want to have my space as much as possible. So if I'm in a crowd or if I'm in this situation, I just really need to breathe a little bit more and be super prepared that I will be in this environment. But other than that, no, I'm not really interested with this either.
By the way, it looks like New York.
Yes, possibly because of the cabs, right?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. How about this one? I'm sure there's a lot of people, oh, they were so happy seeing a minion.
I can't even see the mouth.
The mouth. Yeah, I think it's, I'm not sure if this is a Lego piece or whatever. But for me, I am not interested with minions. You remember why, Miko?
Blah 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 blah
Yes.
blah 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 blah.
For me, that's all I hear. I don't want to sound too judgmental, but it's racking my brain, and I'm not too sure if this would be really good for kids, especially if they're learning language. So it's not ideal. And for me, just you saw Miko cringe earlier with the cigarettes. I'm cringing right now. I'm not too fond of minions because again of the idea that it for me they sound silly, and I'm not sure if it's, especially if it's geared for kids, I'm not sure if it's really good to speak in such a manner. Right? So the same thing with cigarettes. I'm cringing about this. And Mika talked about smell. I'm not smelling anything right now. But can you visualize the smell, Miko? That it stinks, that it sticks to your shirt, it sticks to your hair, and you can still smell it even afterwards.
And it damages your lungs.
Yes, and it damages your lungs, especially from a COVID-19 situation. But at the same time, this is a legal product. People can legally buy this, so it's fine. So I have nothing against you. We have nothing against you if you do smoke. And the way I understand it too is that you smoke in order to relax yourself, at least for that time being. So there are smokers who need this, and there are people like us that it's actually giving us more stress, bad stress, more than making us feel good. But again, if you do feel good about this, it's temporary, and it's not really going to help you in the long run, especially with the COVID-19 situation. Because just like what Mika said, it damages your lungs. So the other thing that I have experienced with this is it reminds me of my dad. So with all due respect with him, bless his soul, but he was such a smoker. And so that's my experience with that. And I assume Miko wouldn't have that experience because I don't smoke. And so even with, again, one picture, we all have different interpretations. It evokes different memories, different feelings, different thoughts, different experiences. Am I making sense so far, Miko? Okay. So one stimulus, and yet here we are. We have explained these pictures in different ways. This one, he said, I don't like the pickles. What do I not like, Miko?
Mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise. So he's taking out the pickles. I'm grabbing his pickles. I'm going to scrape the mayo out of that bun. And I'll ask Miko, do you want this extra mayo? If he doesn't want it, I'll just wipe it on the napkin and that's it. Just think about that. Just one picture. He's got different emotions about it. He's got different preferences about it versus mine. It's exactly the same stimulus. And yet, we are different in this way. How about for people who are vegetarians out there? This is something that you wouldn't eat. You wouldn't even touch. So, again, just one experience, one specific stimulus, all of us, each and every one of us, will go ahead and respond to such thing in different ways and in different manners. And that's why, again, when you say stress management, it sounds wrong to me because you're not, if this is the stressor for you, you're not managing the burger, right?
Yeah.
You manage your reaction to the burger. Miko's reaction is to go ahead and take out the pickles. My reaction is to take out the mayonnaise, right?
Yeah.
I am managing my actions. I'm not going to be angry at the burger. How come you have mayo? Miko's not going to be angry at the burger because it's got pickles. It's one stimulus. We go ahead and do and take care of however we need to take care of this. All right. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay. Let's go proceed. Physiology.
Wait, hold on. I have a question.
Go ahead.
Why don't you like mayo then?
Why do I not like mayo? I mean, you know me. I almost eat anything and everything.
Exactly.
I think it's too oily for me. It's too fatty for me. And the texture in my mouth, it doesn't. Yeah.
The reason why I don't like pickles, it's a really bland sour.
It's bland sour. And you know me, I like sour. And
Yeah.
multiple levels of sour, yes.
I'm not much of a sour guy anymore.
You're not a sour guy anymore. Okay, and that's the thing. Think about that. You have changed your experiences. I mean, I remember when you were way younger, you didn't like ketchup, and right now you almost drink ketchup.
Drink. Yeah, I'll drink ketchup.
So even within us, we have changed or rechanged on how we interpret every stimulus. So there, okay? Even within us. So the younger Miko doesn't want ketchup. Right now, we need to make sure we have ketchup at home because Miko will not be happy.
Yeah, I won't.
All right. Okay, cool. Very good. Anything else? Thank you for that question. Anything else?
And if you're wondering what I like to have with ketchup, it's steak.
Steak, yes. Burger, beef.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Okay, physiology of stress. So the next one is the central nervous system. Okay. So that's why I have here part of the central nervous system. I mean, obviously the brain is the main part. That includes all the way to the spinal cord. So I've got this thing here because, again, we are in a physical therapy clinic. And
I'm sorry.
The what? I'm sorry?
Just looking at that wobble makes me feel really weird.
It's wobbly. Yeah. It's wobbly because this is how our spinal cord moves. It's trying to imitate how it is and how it looks like in terms of the gaps and so on and so forth. So that way, if people have back pain or what have you, we can talk to them a little bit more in terms of what's lying out here in terms of the nerves, okay? And then the bottom portion of the skull. So the brain is right here. So the neocortical cortex level is, Miko, touch your top of your head. Okay, pretty much whatever's on top, these are the responsible ones for choices that we make. How are we going to choose to decide if we are stuck in traffic, if we have a burger that has mayo on it or pickles on it, and so on and so forth? So it's not life-threatening that you need the limbic system to go ahead and come into play. So try to touch around your ear area here. So this is the almost automatic responses. So if, for example, Miko, if you all of a sudden you see a bear charging at you right now, what would you do? Do you think it's a matter of choice?
Yeah, if you want to die or not.
Okay, but do you think that's really a choice, or for the most part you will go ahead and say, nope, I'll try to survive this as much as I can?
Limbic system, fight or flight.
Yep, that's the limbic system right there. It's either you fight this bear or you run away, but either way, good luck. Just like the 72 dangerous animals we've been watching, right?
Get a stick and poke it in the eye.
Yes, so.
If I can poke it in the eye.
Yeah. Or what was our joke? You know, put our head in and then bite the tongue, or
Oh yeah, if it bites our arm, we grab whatever it is and then pull it out.
Yeah. Okay. Obviously, we're joking right now. We're not animal experts. We're just thinking, oh my goodness, if we end up being in a fight with these really huge animals. So anyway, but that's what it is. You fight or you flee. There's not much of a choice of, should I be taking out the mayonnaise out of my burger?
No, this is what you should be doing. You should run away but leave a burger, so it'll think you're still there, but it's really just the burger.
Or this is a not so good thing. If you're with somebody else, make sure you outrun the other person. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
That's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, wow.
Anyway, yeah. Yeah, so that's the limbic system right there. Are you going to fight or are you going to flee the situation, and or sometimes both? And the third one, or the last one, is vegetative level, is that it's just for us to continue to breathe, to continue to digest, and so on and so forth. So that's the central nervous system right there. Okay, let's move on to the autonomic nervous system. Go ahead. You have a
I
question?
was thinking, because usually when you're outside in the forest, you're bringing a lighter because if you camped out or something.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to light up the lighter.
Okay.
And then once the bear gets close, throw the lighter onto the bear's fur, and then it'll crack. And since the fur is pretty fiery, I'm not sure how to describe it.
Flammable?
Yeah, flammable.
Okay.
It's gonna burn.
All right. Well, I'm not too sure if it's flammable. I don't want to try it or what have you. And then you know how a lighter works. If you're not pressing on the gas, it will switch off. But I understand what you're saying is that I think just like what you saw from Indy, right? That we haven't finished yet. Indy. You don't remember Indy?
Oh, I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, so it's only now that actually for both of us, it's only now that we're watching Indiana Jones, and then he tried to gaslight the snakes around him.
Yeah, and then there's an explosion.
Yeah. So, all right, cool. Thank you. Anything else you want to share or ask?
No.
Okay. All right. So when you say autonomic nervous system, when you say autonomic, what do you think that means?
Auto?
Okay. And when you say auto, does it mean you control it or you don't?
No, you don't control it.
Okay. So it's automatic, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one is a sympathetic nervous system. These are pretty much responsible for the stress response. And then parasympathetic nervous system is for us to go ahead and relax. So these things, for the most part, we don't control. Okay. More about brain and stress. Hippocampus, memory and experiences. Just like with the pictures earlier, both Miko and I have different memories of exactly the same stimulus. Correct, Miko?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you go ahead and associate the picture of the traffic because of the cabs in New York.
Unless
God.
you're literally a twin.
Nah. You think us being, let's say for example, we're identical twins. Do you think the way we interpret things are exactly the same?
No. I meant literally twin, as in Calvin. You created a duplicate.
You create duplicates, yeah, but even with that Calvin, the using the transmogrifier, right?
Yeah.
Even with that, the different Calvins have their different personalities, correct?
No, they all want to go to school. I mean, don't want to go to school.
So are they all exactly the same? I remember one of them is a good Calvin or something like that.
Oh yeah, because he switched. There was a switch.
Exactly.
Good and bad.
Exactly.
Good
So
evil.
even that.
Yeah.
So you understand what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm glad you brought that up. That's great. Thank you. Because yeah, even for identical twins, exactly the same DNA that they have received, and they just divided into two individuals. They all have different experiences, if you may. Okay. All right. Okay. So parasympathetic, brain and stress, hippocampus, memory and experiences. Next one is amygdala. That's a part of the brain where our emotions are processed. And then if it's too much cortisol, it harms the brain. And the cortisol is the what? I'm sorry?
What is cortisol?
Cortisol, I'm glad you asked that. This is one of the things that our body produces when we are under stress. So we need to find ways to flush it out. And if there's too much cortisol being produced, because we need to take care of ourselves, whether we're fighting or fleeing a situation or what have you, whenever we're extreme stressful situations, cortisol are being produced. Okay? Did I answer your question?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay. Speaking of cortisol, I'm realizing right now I don't have the charger here. So let me get my charger real quick.
Charger. Oh dang! Oh shoot!
You okay?
My charger wasn't plugged.
Oh, okay, go ahead and plug it in. Oh my goodness. I'm glad you were able to last this long. That's good. All right, good.
Must have got out when I was plugging in my mouse.
Okay.
I'm
So
not
we're good
sure.
now. So I answered your question regarding cortisol, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Now, with neuroplasticity is that it generates new connections and new cell growth in terms of our brain. With one of the image that you saw regarding the neurons, because before they've identified that whatever your brains are, whatever your brain is that's it. But just like strength through stress, you gain muscle if you work out. Correct, Miko?
Well, it depends what workout it is.
True, but for the most part, that's what it is. So the bottom line is you gain strength, or you gain flexibility, you gain stamina, you gain something positive, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And the same thing with neuroplasticity is that if we are involved with different situations and experiences, then it helps these connections to go ahead and build and find ways to get some responses and how we are going to solve problems and so on and so forth. And that's what it is with neuroplasticity. That our brain, if we train it well enough, we would be able to do well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next is TECHNO journal. I know I discussed this last time. It's really important. What's the root word of journal again?
Journey.
Journey. All right, wonderful. So every session, we will be discussing things that you guys could go ahead and be able to journal with. So you document your story, and there's so many research to go ahead and support that this is very beneficial or helpful for one's wellness or well-being. And for me, as I share certain personal examples as well, and with my motivation to go ahead and leave this time capsule messages for Miko, for me, that's the key. That's the important thing for me. And and it helps in terms of one's wellness and well-being. And again, the importance of being able to express yourself, that there's no judgment, because if it's just for you and your eyes only or your thoughts only, it's good to be able to express yourself. And if you're able to express yourself with what's going on, then you have better awareness of whatever the situation is. And hopefully you will have a clearer picture if you are trying to solve certain problems. Does that make sense, Miko? I know we talked about this last time. Okay?
Yep.
So again, and that's the reason why we are trying to promote with you, try to go ahead and identify what worked for you this week, what didn't work, and so on and so forth. Because it's really, really critical for us to talk about such things. Okay? All right. So again, you can do it as a video like this. You can write it down. You can type it. However you want to express yourself. But obviously, the way you express it verbally versus writing it down versus typing, they're all different experiences, and you will have different experiences with them. So just try all three of them as much as you could. Initially, I was trying to type certain thoughts, but it's taking a long time, and I think with the power of technology anyway, I think it's more personal if I do record videos or messages for Miko here. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the second journal out of the 3 sessions that we've already have. Miko, what is your least favorite emotion and why? Or do you want my example first?
Engrossment?
Being
Being grossed
disgusted?
out? Yeah, disgusted.
Okay. What was the last time that you got really disgusted with?
The last time I got really disgusted, well, the last time I got really disgusted was when I saw the picture of the cigarettes.
The cigarettes. It's disgusting, isn't it? We're not saying the people who smoke are disgusting. It's just that the cigarette itself is disgusting. Why is disgusting your least favorite emotion?
It's just because there are many bad things about it.
Okay. There are so many bad things in terms of disgust. All right, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and share my own example here. For me, my least favorite emotion is anger. And though at times well, hopefully not for the most part, but at times that is a common emotion that I express. And for me, it's, how should I say this? You know what? I'll explain things more as we go through some of the questions here, okay? All right, and I'll tie it up to the second question. Are you allowed to express your feelings or your emotions, Miko?
Example.
Yeah. Are you allowed to express your feelings and emotions?
Oh, there's one easy way for me.
Well, what is that?
Slouching.
Slouching?
When I'm feeling tired.
When you're feeling tired. Okay. All right. And then sometimes when you're a little bit on a whiny mode, I'll tell you,
Yeah.
I don't stop you from whining. I tell you, you can whine somewhere else, right?
Yeah. I mean, we all whine.
Well, you all do. Yes, absolutely. So,
Oh, wait, no, not kids.
but sometimes when we're together and you're just whining about certain things, and
No. Kids don't whine. They don't drink it.
Oh, Miko boy, you and your puns.
What? You're the pun master.
I am the pun master?
Yeah, I got it from you.
Oh, really? Okay, don't share that to the world, okay? It's just between you and I.
Okay.
I have to cut this. No, I'm just kidding. So, are you allowed to express your emotions, Miko?
Well, yeah.
Go ahead. At least for the most part, correct? Okay. All right, good. And then I think I'll respond a little bit more once I'm done here. What's your favorite emotion?
My favorite emotion. Happiness.
Why happy?
Because you're happy.
Okay.
Oh no.
What?
Oh, I didn't think of that.
What? Which one?
My favorite emotion is funny. I like
Okay.
to laugh.
When you laugh, you said?
Yeah,
Okay. Why is that?
I like laughing. I don't know, I just like laughing.
It's a good feeling, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. And
Wait, what about you?
I'll talk more a little bit about it after this last one. So ideally is that we do control the emotions and not vice versa. And I'll go back to my least favorite emotion of anger. And sometimes when there are certain frustrations that take place in my life is that it does get it gets in control. And what I have done is that because I'm a very competitive person,
Oh yeah.
and I know I have a little bit of a short fuse, so I try to compete with myself that I will not let anger be the better me, to get the better of me. But I will lose some battles. So and the problem here is because I grew up in an all boys school, Catholic church, Catholic school, and for me is that was I allowed to express my feelings or emotions when I was feeling sad or unhappy and I want to cry? You do not want to cry with other boys because the idea here is that you're a boy, you're a dude, you're supposed to be strong and tough
No,
and live
not
through
all
it.
the time.
Oh, what?
Not all the time.
Exactly. And but that's the thing. That's my experience, Miko. I'm actually saying that's wrong. But I'm telling you, because of that really bad experience, that because if you end up crying, then you will be teased by your all other boy classmates, and they will tease you like crazy, and that you are soft, that you are a weakling, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And so I have learned how to not express my emotions, and then the sadness seems to transfer to anger. The the sadness or not feeling happy, instead of being able to express myself that I'm not happy and I want to cry, it's now being transitioned to anger. Does that make sense?
It's just like turning offense into defense or defense into offense.
Sure, if you want to use that analogy. I kind of understand it. But that's what it is, me growing up. And then for you, Miko, do you remember? I do tell you, hey, Miko, if you want to cry, go ahead and cry. It's okay, right? I mean, I don't remember when I last told you that, but do you remember that I'm sharing that with you?
It's been a long time though. Yeah.
That's good. We don't want you to be crying all the time. We want you to be laughing all the time, the positive emotions, right?
Yeah.
But that's what it is. I allow you to go ahead and do that, and I tell you that I am here with you if you're feeling sad or whatever. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Make sense? Okay. But again, for me, growing up, it's unfortunate that that's what happened. And for me, my favorite emotion is not happiness, but contentment. Because happiness seems to be fleeting. It doesn't last long. But if you're content where you are and what you have and whatever is going on, then for me, that's my favorite emotion because it's calm and even keel, and whatever that needs to be done is are being completed and getting things done. And again, in terms of the controlling of the emotions, I'm that's one of my main challenges. I'm still trying to go ahead and find ways. to go ahead and have that happen. And I'm thankful for people like Miko who's helping me with that. Correct, Miko?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, try to journal in terms of your emotional well-being, because going back to the amygdala, I've heard it say it being different ways. Amygdala. So anyway, so in terms of the emotions, we need to be able to allow these emotions and all of these neurons to wire themselves so that we can have better control of them and not just them firing away with whatever is going on. Okay. Any questions, Miko?
No.
Move on to the last slide here.
No.
All right. What is the most important thing that you have learned for today's session? Was there anything important for you or interesting? What's
Important. Well, something I did not like, or
what made you, what gave you an impression of anything? What made an impression to you? What was meaningful for you? What was critical for you? What was new for you? Or if you can identify a common theme.
What was new? I never really, it's not really new, but it's just, I never really had it in mind, if you get my drift.
Which is what?
Journal 2, this one. Emotional well-being.
This one in terms of talking about emotions?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So in terms of emotional well-being, go ahead.
Third grade last year, we were talking about emotions, how you can feel that way of it, but we weren't talking about controlling it. Something like that.
Okay. And you know what? That's the reason why I chose this specific journal with these specific questions, is because we need to be able to go ahead and think that we can control these things and not just be reactive all the time. So if, for example, if I'll go to a party and there will be smokers in there, then I need to like really push myself to be as patient as possible and then just stay away from the smoke as much as possible. Or if I'm going to go somewhere and it's going to be a little bit of a traffic, then I really have to prepare myself to go ahead and calm down. So just like I shared in the last session. Yeah, go ahead.
Or if you go to Burger King and then they put mayonnaise on it.
Yeah. And the sad part there, even if I tell them don't put mayo and then they still end up putting mayo, then I'll just get a free burger because they did the wrong order. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. And that's the thing. Yeah, I go ahead and share exactly what my preference is. And people make mistakes. That's okay. But sometimes when things are already adding up and that happens, so it doesn't seem cool. So, but again, that's why, at least for me specifically, I'm always trying to go ahead and find ways to control emotions. Thank you for sharing and bringing all of those other things. Anything else, Miko?
Nope.
Nope. All right. So yes, this is really critical in terms of the physiology of how we interpret things, and for me, I think you've heard me say over and over that all of these experiences are rather subjective. Right? So we bring in all of our experiences into it, our thoughts behind it, and how we interpret things. It's just everybody will have different interpretations of such things. And again, that is why you don't manage the stressor. You don't manage the pictures that I showed you. You manage the emotions that you're going to deal with and how you're going to express them. All right. So let's see if this is going to work. The thank you thing. I think I need to go back to the mouse here. Oh.
Oh.
What's going on? I don't know what I clicked. All right. So strength through stress workshops. Miko, can you go ahead and talk about this? Oh, it's got the verbal thing. Huh.
What?
This is new.
That's weird.
What did I click? Because it's I need to study this later. Oh, this one. Huh. That's cool. Okay.
That's so cool.
You learned something new. Huh. That's good. Mika, care to talk about our future sessions?
No, not really.
No, you don't want to talk about that. We're doing this every Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern time, and on Thursday, 7 p.m. Yes? No?
Fine.
Okay. And then workout buddies, Fridays, 10 a.m. If you just want to go ahead and have somebody to go ahead and work out with, feel free to go ahead and do that. And then videoke, and then we'll possibly sprinkle in Scrabble there as well. Online Scrabble, we can do that.
What about happy hour?
Actually, Friday's 10 p.m. Eastern time. I need to adjust this. Yeah, it's 10 p.m. Eastern time. There. All right. Again, references. We appreciate all these references right here, especially for Pixabay. Okay. Anything else for today's session, Miko?
Nope.
All right. Good. And I just learned something today. Cool.
Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this video informational and educational. Please share our videos and subscribe to our channel. If not, my dad will not give me dessert.